Hi everyone, welcome to today's session. So today you are going to need some wall space and a block or something similar, and we're going to practice balancing postures using the wall and our bricks for support, because I think so often what happens is we take our balancing postures and we wibble and we wobble and we never actually feel how they're meant to feel in our bodies when we're not wobbling all over the place and really tensing up. So I think it's really helpful to use some wall space, use the support, we've got it at home, and then, perhaps watch this video back and, over the course of the week, start to practice this without using the wall space and see how it changes in your body. So let's make a start in mountain pose. And first of all, before we stand still and start to bring our attention inwards, I want us just to shake it out. Shaking your arms, shaking your legs, doing whatever you need to do to just shake out any tension or shake off the night's sleep. Okay, let's come to stillness. Feet either together or apart. Close your eyes. Bringing your focus to your breath. Feeling into each of your 10 toes. And finding that connection to the floor. So when we balance, connection through our feet is so important. So just notice as you stand here where the weight is distributed in your feet. Do you feel like the weight is drawing back into the heels more than the toes? Or perhaps it's the other way around for you. Do you feel like the weight is drawing in towards the inner side of the arches or out? And then just notice how it feels with your eyes closed to move forward and back. Seeing if you can find that sweet spot where the weight is evenly distributed between these points in your feet. So feeling into that big toe mound and then feeling into all 10 toes, pressing them down firmly, and then feeling into the heel. I feel like you're drawing the inner arches up. And then from that place, you may feel like the feet are starting to tense up. Can you relax them, but still feel that upward lift of energy? That's where we want to be. Rooted down, but yet feeling that beautiful switch on of energy. And then from here, blink open the eyes. We're going to breathe in, sweep our arms up, look up, reach up, and then exhale, forward fold. Lift halfway, drawing your body forward as the bottom draws back. And then exhale, hands down to the ground. We're going to step our right foot back, step our left foot back. Push the ground away, find your high plank. And then draw your knees down, untucking your toes, lowering down on the out breath. Breathe in, peel up, cobra. Notice how this feels in your body. You don't have to go so high. And then take it back to child's pose. Stretching your hands forward as you draw your hips back. Taking a full breath in. Taking a full breath out. Press down through your hands. Draw your hips to the sky. Make downward facing dog. Taking a full breath in. Taking a full breath out. Pedal out the legs. Do whatever you need to do to feel comfortable and to feel into your body. And then finding stillness. Looking forward at that space between your hands. Stepping or hopping towards the front of your mat. To breathe in, lift halfway. Can you notice how my back naturally wants to round? I really have to try to lengthen it, and then I find that beautiful length, and it's almost like I straighten out my spine. And then exhale, forward fold. Take those soft knees. Draw your nose as close to your shin bones as you can, and then start to straighten the legs, but with your belly sandwiched on your thighs. And then from here, press down into your feet. Start to lift up to extended mountain as you look up. We'll take it down one more time. Exhale, forward fold. Breathing in, lifting halfway, belly lifts. And then hands draw down, stepping or jumping back. And you go back through your vinyasa your way. So I've got my legs raised, I'm taking chaturanga, but you could continue in your modified version and taking it back through child's pose if you would prefer. We're all going to meet in downward facing dog. Taking a full breath in and a full breath out. Raising your right leg to the sky on the in-breath. And then drawing the knee forwards, placing the foot down. Take a low lunge. Reach your arms up. Active in those legs. And then we're just going to sink the hips. Keep lifting through your arms. And it's not collapsing here. You're really active. By that I mean press down into your front foot. Notice how that changes things. And it means suddenly the glutes are active. You're supported. You're supporting your pelvis. You're not collapsing. Taking one more breath. And then hands come down. Step back into your high plank. And take it back downward facing. Full breath in. Full breath out. Left leg lifts to the sky. From here, draw the knee forward. Place the foot down between the hands. Don't worry if it takes a few shuffles of the feet. Low lunge on this side. So active in that front foot, active in the glutes. Feel that beautiful opening in the front side of the right hip. And then let's start to bring the hips forward in space, still keeping those lower ribs hugged in. So you're just shifting the hips forward, but that front foot is still pressed down firmly. The back glutes are still on, and you're still reaching your arms up to the sky. Stay here. Notice any tension you're bringing into your neck. Relax. One more breath. Reach those fingers up. And then hands down. Find high plank. And take it back. Downward facing dog. We're here for 5 breaths. So as you breathe in, you're spreading your fingers wide. As you breathe out, you're drawing your hips down towards the ground. So maybe you're taking a longer downward facing dog, in which case your heels might not be anywhere near the ground. And that is okay. You are getting a beautiful stretch down the backs of your legs. You're actually having to work that little bit harder here. So rule of thumb, just before we move on to our balancing, is you want to find as much length in your downward facing dog that allows you to travel forward into high plank without moving your feet. So a little helpful tip there. So downward facing dog, coming all the way forward to high plank, then you know you're roughly in the right position. I tend to take a shorter downward facing dog. I prefer it that way, but up to you. So let's walk our hands back to our feet and slowly peel up our spines. Coming all the way to stand at the back of your mat, roll your shoulders a few times, and then let's find our wall space. So we are going to practice our eagle pose with our bottom resting on the wall. So let's reach our arms up to the sky. I've got a little space between me and the wall here. And then from here, you're going to come down into a chair pose. So just check in, you may need to readjust your feet a bit so you've got enough room to get your bottom low. And then you're going to bring right arm underneath left, cross wrap twist. How does that feel? If it's too much for the shoulders, just keep the hands pressing onto the shoulders as opposed to bringing your hands into prayer. Now everyone think about lifting your shoulders, or your elbows rather, to shoulder height. And then you're just gently squeezing the forearms together, keeping the hips nice and low. Now you start to pick up the right leg. You draw that thigh across, and maybe this is your eagle pose. Maybe you've got the space to just bring that foot behind the back of the calf. Now we've got this beautiful support of the wall, so let's use it. Maybe we can take ourselves down that little bit lower. I'm going to shuffle my bottom away from the wall a bit more. But can you keep your spine completely erect and keep the back of your head on the wall as well as the back of your pelvis and bottom? Stay here. How does this feel, everyone? Probably a totally different eagle to the type that you're used to when you're wobbling all around the place.
Now, both hip bones are pointing forward here. That's what we want. Stay here, one more breath. And then slowly coming out. Reach those arms up to the sky. Take a breath in. Take a breath out. Start to sink your hips again. We're in our little chair pose. I like to come into my eagle this way. So we're thinking in our eagle about keeping our hip bones pointing forward. When we start crossing our legs over, obviously it's going to encourage our hips to slip out of alignment. But when we've got the wall, let's use it to keep the back of our hips nice and steady. So let's take it to the other side. So this time, left arm underneath right. Eliminate that kink in the wrists. So try and draw the hands into a prayer position with the fingers pointing up. And then think about drawing those elbows up towards the shoulders. Now we're going to take our left leg and cross it over. So you'll find probably that one leg is easier and you have more space. I have to work much harder to get my foot behind my calf here. Guide your knees back to the center and then guide your elbows back to the center. So everything is in one line. Everything is stacked on top of the other. And then bring your head back. So we want to keep our spines as erect as possible in our eagle. Breathing in, breathing out. One more breath here, one more breath out. And I should say, on this side as well, you could just be having your foot just resting over. You don't have to be twisting the foot and going behind the calf. That can be too much. Reach your arms up and reach the arms down. Take a full breath in. A full breath out. Standing leg raise. So find this wall space. So we're going to be balancing on our left leg here and lifting up with our right. So I like to be distance away from the wall where I can lightly press with my fingertips into the wall. So stage one, really straighten up and firm up that standing leg. You start to bend into that right leg. And maybe this is your standing leg raise. Can you see that my foot is flexed? And that just helps to activate the muscles in your leg that little bit more. And if the foot was all floppy. And then from here, drive that knee as close to your body as you can while lifting up through the crown of your head. Perhaps you stay here. I'm going to demonstrate on one side this stage one and I'll take it to stage two on the other. So staying here, can you feel how much you're actively having to work into the front of the hip? Those hip flexors that get so lazy, as with all our muscles, with our sedentary lifestyle, our sitting down all the time. This is really making them work hard. So your standing leg is strong. Now think about this standing leg. Your glutes are going to want to switch off and you're going to want to, this hip on the left will want to jut out to the side when we start to move, which we're about to do. Keep everything still in that standing leg and then start to open out this leg to the side. So your knee, don't worry about whether it opens out to 90 degrees or not. Maybe it's more like 45 degrees. But wherever you go to, the minute you feel this hip starting to travel around with it and this standing leg starting to move, then you know that's where you're going to stay and you're going to really work on keeping that standing leg straight before you then move on. There's no point opening out the hip if actually you're just traveling around with it. So everyone, we're in this beautiful open position. We're still flexing our foot and we're keeping everything nice and tall through our spines. Calm back to center and then we're going to take it into a warrior three. So I'm going to bring my hand as though my hand's in prayer, obviously the other hand's on the wall, and imagine that you're trying to kick a door shut with this foot. You might have to move the hand on the wall for support. And then take yourself back into your warrior three. How nice does it feel suddenly to have this support here? So think about rolling this right hip bone down. You're bringing your body and your back into this locust pose position. So you're not coming all the way down. There's really that lovely lift through the upper chest and then keep rolling that hip bone down. Keep imagining you're pushing the back of a door with your foot. And then come back forward, reach that knee up, and then let's extend the leg out in front of us as we reach up. So we're working hard now on the quads, on our thighs, and still in our hip flexors, keep pulling up from the belly, and then bring that foot down, Let's take it to the other side. So you can continue doing that with a bent leg if you wish, or you can take it with a straight leg. I'll show you how. You probably know this anyway, but helpful to just break this pose down. So hands once again resting for support on the wall. Think about that right leg now. This is your stability, like a tree. It's so strong and so straight. So you lift up that left leg. Let's all start in this bent leg position with that flexed foot. Now to take it on to the next phase, take hold of your big toe with your 2 peace fingers, and then you start to kick that foot forward. Can you see at the beginning, I'm rounding through my back, and it's harder because I've got longer to travel, further to travel in order to get my foot. But if I start to lift my chest, my leg comes up with me, the foot goes above 90 degrees, suddenly there's less distance from the foot to my arm and to my hand, so I can draw that upper arm bone back into the socket. I can lift up with the crown of the head, I can look up. Now we want to think here about activating through that top thigh. So if you're still got a bent leg, it doesn't matter, this is a great place to start. Just do it with a bent leg and just practice here. But you've got the wall for support. So slowly over time, and depending obviously on what you're doing, if you're doing a lot of running, it's very hard to really stretch out your hamstrings, but just work with what you've got. And then start to open out that leg to the side. My leg doesn't want to go to 90 degrees today, and that is quite all right. Stay here, strong in the hip, lifting up through the crown of your head, and then come back to center. From here, we're going to take it back to warrior 3. So bring your hand into that half prayer position. Maybe we just stretch the foot and glide it along the floor before we take it back to warrior 3. So you could point your toe, you could flex your foot here. I like to flex my foot. That's my preference. So get in this place where you've got support from the wall and you're in the right position. And then think about bringing that left hip bone down in line with the right. Draw your shoulders away from your ears. How different does this pose feel when you're not hanging on for dear life and trying to balance? Maybe even enjoyable. Come back up, stretching your foot and stroking it across the floor. And then we're going to draw the foot out in front of us to take the foot out, extend the leg, and just use the thigh strength, hip flexor strength to lift up. And then bring the foot down. Beautiful, everyone. And then I think we'll leave it here for today, and we'll come back and we'll practice some other balancing postures using the wall again, so I think that's really helpful. So let's take it down to the floor to finish up in our child's pose, or take whatever alternative posture you'd rather take. And then bring your forehead down. Allow everything to relax down to the ground. And is it possible here to direct your breath to any areas that feel tight or in need of a little bit of attention? Directing that exhale and that release to those places. Seeing if you can just let go of any gripping, tightness. Or maybe it's a gripping or tightness in your mind today. Maybe just letting go of any kind of fixed thoughts, beliefs you're holding about yourself, about your day. Just exhale, sigh it out. And you can take whatever postures you'd like to end your practice, or perhaps you'd like to end it here. Bringing your hands together in prayer. Raising your thumb knuckles to your forehead. Together we bow. Namaste, my friends. See you soon.